have the pleasure of introducing a man in my house we call 1F Jef. Because we've been buying our books here for 5 years, right? We have to differentiate between 1F Jef and 2F Jef. And a month ago, 1F Jef took a much larger role in my life. So I don't call him 1F Jef anymore. I call him the writing fairy. Because if there is anybody that is a champion of words and writers and writing, it is formerly known as 1F Jef. So I'd like to introduce him. It is my joy and pleasure because he is always, with a voice unwavering, a champion of words and writers.
Well, wow, thank you. How can you, I just hope I can live up to that. So the first poem I'm going to read is called Smoke a la Carte. I don't need you or anyone else to generate my heat. I'll be my own match and strike myself repeatedly. I'll produce my own flame and shine my own light, and when I allow my fire to die out, I'll savor the fading scent of my own smoke. Hell's Kitchen. In hindsight, it would have been helpful to know not to throw water on a grease fire. But they don't teach that kind of thing in school. Instead, my teachers filled my head with Jack London and scientific theory, with fractions in the Alamo, and the art of strategy when it comes to dodgeball. It happened so quickly. My older sister screamed while the flames licked the oven vent like Satan's forked tongue. And besieged with panic, she set the burning pot on the floor, smoke rising as it branded the linoleum. With Boy Scout earnestness, I filled a glass with water and hurled it at the fire, a blinding flash, and my nostrils filled with the stench of burnt hair. My mother walked in from work, saw my arm pockmarked with burns. We watched her, scared, as she paced the backyard, alternating between helplessness and rage, almost snapping like the aloe vera leaves she used to soothe my blistered flesh. I'm grateful that some life lessons allow eyebrows and bangs to grow back, but the kitchen floor still wears the scar of that hellish day, like a drunken tattoo. I have a friend from high school that I got in touch with Facebook, actually, after many years, and she just gave birth to a baby. And she complained that she didn't think she was ever going to give birth to that baby. So this one's called Charise Underground. Charise, all 9 months pregnant, went underground to the Abajo, someplace dark and cool to escape the heat wave. Charise lay under the pinwheel of the ceiling fan, brow sequined with sweat, tortured by the sight of iced water because any movement created more heat that required more H2O to quench her thirst. Charise squirmed amongst the pillows and wondered if her feet had changed much since she last saw them. Had they gained weight, changed toenail polish, or even grown mustaches? Charise recalled a TV program where she learned that elephants are pregnant for 2 years. Since it seemed that she had been pregnant forever, she tried to remember if she'd accepted any free martinis from a suave pachyderm in a darkly lit bar, one who had flashed white tusk and had a room conveniently upstairs in his hotel. The image of a horny elephant humping and pumping away on top of her drunken body until he threw his head back and trumpeted an "Oh God," then collapsed on top of her, his floppy ears covering her completely. Charise laughed. For the first time in weeks, her belly shook so hard she had to grab hold of the couch to keep from rolling off. And then the baby kicked. And suddenly, Charise didn't mind the heat anymore. My last poem is called My Diabolical Hypno-Wheel. When I was a child, I wanted to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I believed in hot dogs and apple pie, Chevrolet, and the sincerity of tears shed by Native Americans over pollution and trash. All I needed to know I learned from Sesame Street, and I thought all pantyhose hatched from plastic eggs. I never wondered if I was good enough. I was not aware teenage girls slit their wrists because they didn't look just like Marsha Brady. Today we live in a world where people don't have enough to eat, yet we starve ourselves to fit into clothes that would give Barbie and Ken muffin tops. We anoint barren scalps to harvest hair yet chemically burnt upper lips and backs to create the impression of Greek statues carved from the smooth stone. Doesn't everyone know that even Marcia Brady doesn't look like Marcia Brady anymore? If I had a Diabolical Hypno-Wheel, I would turn it on the world. I would say, look into my eyes. You're getting sexy. Very, very sexy. I would command everyone to shed their inhibitions and run naked into the streets. We would bust open fire hydrants, blast D-Light from our stereos, and wave our hands in the air like we don't care, and we would dance until dawn. Our excess flesh jiggling with joy, unwanted body hair, now a badge of honor, and everyone seeing the Marcia Brady in one another. And together, we'd be a hot mess. It's my pleasure to introduce Alice Teeter, who read, I guess, earlier this spring. And one thing that you should know about Alice is she may seem very unassuming, but she's one of those quiet types that you really need to watch out for. She has a book with a beautiful, arresting orange cover. And she was rumored to be on tour with the top twins in New Zealand, I believe is what she told me. But what I remember most about Alice is she read this poem about this woman who had a beige life. And every once in a while, someone puts something in words that's just so right that it stays with you. And sometimes when I'm shelving books, I'll think back to that moment and think, beige life. Because I know people like that. So I'm going to turn it over to Alice Teeter.